Hey everyone, hope you all are doing well. Today I would like to discuss about the food chain in the ecosystem. Basically, in our surrounding, we can see different types of food habit. Right? Suppose you are a vegetarian, another one your friends are non-vegetarian. So among us also we have different food habit. So just think in the earth all around or in this place in the different types of place there are different types of food habitat or food habit of different organisms, right? Some can dependent on suppose grass only, some can dependent upon the plants, some can dependent upon only the animals. So this is our food habit. So why it is so named, that is food chain? Because the food that can create the chain between one organism to the another organism. So also there are different types of prey-predator relationship. One can eat some things or like some organisms, and in the other hand they are also acting as the food for other organism. So this is a chain. Okay, so let's start. First let me tell you one thing, that is the food chain represents the energy flow from one trophic level to the another trophic level. It helps to flow the energy from one food to another, from one not food, from one organism to the another organism. Okay, just like it, the food chain is created and then it maintaining the ecological balance. So let's start with the different types of food chain. So there are three different types of food chain broadly. What are they? One is grazing food chain, another one is parasitic and detritus food chain. So let me tell you about the grazing food chain. So grazing, that means grazer. So grazer dependent their food habit on the grass, right? So it is started from the grass. Those can take the sunlight, and the sunlight which is acts as their energy to produce food, to produce organic foods or organic nutrients. And to that organic nutrients then it is transmitted or then it is followed by the different types of consumer. What are they? Supposing the producer, that is grasses or plants, they have chlorophyll, they can produce food, more amount of food through photosynthesis. And from the plants, when the grazer animals like the cow, goat, they are dependent on the grass. So they can get their energy from the grass only. In the upper level or in the upper trophic level, there are tigers present and also lions are present. So they dependent their food habit on the herbivores, bison, cow, goat and many more. So this is a food chain. This is a grazing food chain, right, where grazers are present. And you can see here when the something like that, the grass which is food for the cow, and secondly the cow is also food for the tigers. So it creates a chain, right? So the next is parasitic food chain. So in the parasitic food chain, you can see one thing, it is started with larger organism or bigger organism, like the plant, a big plant. So to the big plant, different types of pigs can dependent upon their food on that particular plants. Inside the pig, the flatworms are present. So the flatworms, those are dependent on the pigs. Why? Because the pig acts as host for the flatworm. Why? What is host or why is it host? Because they can complete their life cycle. They can complete their whole life cycle in the pig. So they cannot live without pig. So they are the parasite, right? So here is the bigger is the lower trophic level, the bigger animals or the bigger plants. the lower trophic level, and the higher trophic level, the smaller organisms are present. So those are parasite, which is flatworm. This is just an example, okay. So next and the last most important, which is a very much uncommon thing in our ecosystem, that is detritus food chain. Why is it uncommon? Basically it is common in our ecosystem, but it is not common in our syllabus, right? So that is detritus food chain. We do not emphasize that topic, but it's very important for our examination. So what is detritus food chain? Simply you can say it is just the ending point of the grazing food chain. What is that? When the plants and the animals are dead, that dead bodies acts as detritus. That dead bodies acts as the food for the microorganism like bacteria, virus and many more. So the bacteria, virus and many more microorganisms, they are dependent on the detritus, like the excretory materials which is secreted from the plants, which is secreted from the animals, the sewage, the wastage, the vegetables. Those organic compounds, those are decomposed in the soil by this microorganism. But also they have some advantage for doing it. What is that? To get energy. Okay. So just let me tell you the example. The dead animals and the dead animals which is acts as the food for the larva of fly, and then from the larva of fly it is transmitted to the frog. The energy is transmitted basically. Okay. So then snake and peacock lastly. Okay. So the food chain basically a thing which is dependent on the foods only. Why? Because suppose you are consuming carbohydrate or you are consuming fat, rice, dal, roti, sabzi, etc. Why? Because you want the energy, you want the power to read, to see, to walk, to gossip. So that energy is transmitted, or the flow of energy is transmitted to the one trophic level and next trophic level. From the one trophic level to the next trophic level basically. Okay. So this is it about today's video, and let me tell you one thing. Basically the grazing food chain, which is the end part of the grazing food chain, which is the starting point of the detritus food chain. This is a basically note. Okay, this is just a note, nothing else, because it is very important thing in our ecosystem. So this is it about today's video. Hope you can understand the topic easily. This is my target to all of you, and just click the subscribe button, which is the red button below my video, and please support my channel, share with your friends if you like my video. Until then, take care of yourself, also your family.